This is for anybody that's starting over, whether you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s. I'm in my 60s and I'm starting over again. This is obviously not the first time I've started over. Well, I'm saying obviously, but maybe not to you. But in my 40s, I started over in my late 40s when I got a divorce. And then I struggled and got my life back together and got a job and all the things. And maybe I should take you back. So I had a brain tumor in my 40s. I was like rising the corporate ladder, had the perfect little life. I was in what I call Gail's happy little world. I was married, have a daughter, lived in the suburbs in a big old house with fancy cars and had checked all the boxes that we're told to check when we're younger, had the degree, the husband with the his own business that made a lot of money, all the things. And my world came crumbling down when I found out my ex-husband was having an affair, and not that he just was having an affair, but a secret life with this woman who was living in our rental property. So it was very crazy. So end up getting a divorce in my late 40s, start over, get a new job, finish raising my daughter, all the things. I got a job as an accountant with a law firm in DC. And y'all, I stayed there for 16 years and probably in less than a year, I knew I wanted to leave that job. I didn't like the woman that had hired me, who was my supervisor. And she fortunately left after a year, and I ended up staying for 16 years. So the good part is that I doubled my salary during the time I was there. So I came there making like 55, 50 some thousand. I left there after 16 years making 105,000. So, yay, I really progressed while I was there. But what I want to talk to you today about is me like leaving it all behind. Even though I was making more money than I'd ever made, I left it. I quit that job without another job. And that's really what I'm here to talk to you about. I quit the job, I bet on me, and the reason why I quit the job is kind of a little crazy story. And the reason I quit it, well, I wanted to quit, but I was afraid to quit. And the thing that led me to quit was really a message from God. And I'll sit here and say I'm not highly religious. I do believe in God. I'm tapped in to like universal energy is what I consider it. I mean, yes, I believe in Jesus, but I worship in my own way. So that's a whole nother story. But and I was raised in the church. But what happened was I had been following a coach and listening to her podcast, and she was saying some things that really were blowing my mind. And the biggest thing that I learned from her a few years before I quit my job, she said something, and I was like, how is that possible? Especially for me as an accountant. And she said, debt is neutral, like being in debt, any debt that you have. Debt is neutral, meaning it's not good, it's not bad. And here I am, an accountant working with numbers every day. And all my life, I've heard stay out of debt, get out of debt, don't get in debt, don't have debt. And this lady, who's a multimillionaire, is saying, debt is neutral. So that's the first thing that started like getting my attention and started making me think a little bit different. So I followed her podcast. I kept listening every week, and she was offering a life coach certification, but it was thousands of dollars. And for me, I was afraid to spend money. Like I put money in my 401k. I saved and scrimped because I'm living in the DC area, it's very expensive. So I was still pretty much living paycheck to paycheck as a single mom. And I kept saying to myself, I gotta get out of here, but I don't know how. And how many of you are thinking the same thing? Like, I hate this job. I gotta get out. I'm like, I felt like I was in prison a lot of days. And I just couldn't figure it out. So I told myself, and I literally said this to my coworkers, I'll probably be here so long that y'all will find me dead at my desk. Can you believe I said that? Thank God that isn't going to come true because I quit the job. But anyway, so I had been hoping, wishing, praying, trying to figure out my escape plan. Really, that's what I call it, my escape plan. How to get the hell out of that job. And I know a lot of people who watch this will think are thinking the same thing. So one day I was listening to a different podcast and I heard a woman say that she was doing a 3-month course to help you figure out what you're meant to do in the world, what you're meant to do with your life. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I think the course was 3 months and it was around $3,000, which was a lot to me, but they had a payment plan. And so I registered for that class and I promised myself that I would do everything in my power to figure my life out. So how many of you, like, put a comment below, how many of you are trying to figure your life out? It never, like, I used to think when you got a certain age, you'd have it all figured out and you just kind of be skating on life, retire, have your little social security and whatever is in your 401k, and that would be your life. Mm, nope, not that simple. So I took that course. It was 3 months, met a lot of people in there, but every week she would allow somebody to get what they called hot seats. And it was like one-on-one coaching on Zoom. And also, the other thing I want to tell you is that started in January of 2020. Well, we know what happened in 2020, COVID. So I think in March we went on lockdown. So this started in January 2020. And I just knew that I wanted to help women. Like I've always been passionate about helping women and have always I actually was certified as a health coach before and was helping women. And I knew I wanted to help women be free. That was my thing, like free how, like financially free, free your soul, like be a free spirit, not feel like you're trapped in your life. That was all I had in my mind. I didn't know how it was going to play out. So in that course, she starts coaching me and asking me questions. And for those of you that might not be familiar with coaching, in coaching, coaches ask you questions to help you come up with answers for yourself. So she was getting to know me better and asked me a few questions about myself. And all of a sudden, I had what I call diarrhea of the mouth. I just started like blabbing it all to her about my divorce and my ex-husband having a secret life, and I divorced him, and how my brother had just died of brain cancer, how I had had a brain tumor before, um, like how horrible, oh, my daughter had just had a baby and my daughter lives with me. And I just was telling it all. And she said, I can tell you've been through a lot. And she started coaching me and kind of helping me to kind of like clear my mind, really. Because I still, after that session, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just started taking messy action. And that was one thing that she advised us. Just do it. Like, just like I'm doing here today with this video. I'm just doing it. I'm showing up to help other women. That is why I'm here, because when I was suffering, I was too embarrassed to talk to anybody about it. When I went through my divorce, when I had my brain tumor, and fortunately, my tumor was not cancerous. My brother's was, and he died. I think they gave him 14 months to live, and he died in 14 months. So in his 50s, that was my baby brother. But anyway, so I took that course, and towards the end of it, we go on lockdown. So here I am in the house working from home with a new grandchild here and my daughter working at night. So I'm helping my daughter um, watch my grandson. But the other tricky thing that happened is that my ex-husband started coming here to help with my grandson because I couldn't do it by myself and work. And by then, I had signed up for life coach certification. And the crazy thing about that is it costs $18,000. And after doing that other course to help me figure out what I was meant to do, I knew I needed new skills. And after hearing that other woman blow my mind with debt is neutral and many other things that she said, um, I just knew that I had to figure it out. So, y'all, I took it out of my 401k. Well, I took half of it out of my 401k, and I had a payment plan for the other half. So, some of you are probably thinking, what are you crazy? You spent $18,000 on a certification? When I say that was the best thing that I could have ever done in my life. Um, and and what I learned is that there's 5 things that if you learn these 5 things, you can totally turn your life around. And I'll tell you those 5 things. The first one is your circumstance. Like, what are the facts of your life? So, your circumstance. What do you think about your circumstance? That's the second one. How do you feel about your circumstance? That's the third one. What actions are you taking based on your circumstance? And what result are you getting? And I'm simplifying it, but whatever you're thinking, it's creating your results. So that's a very basic thing, but when you practice that every day and you're intentional about what you want to think and what results you want to create, you can totally change your life. And that's what I did. And I'm going to be doing many other videos talking to you about the miraculous changes that I made and how you can make miraculous changes in your life too. But for this video, I just want to tell you a little bit more about how I ended up quitting my job at 65. Yes, y'all, at 65. And I'll be honest with you, I'm 68. I say 68 years young, that I'm spicy, seasoned, and starting over. So most people don't think I'm 68. Most people don't believe I'm 68. I've taken very good care of myself over the years, and sometimes not so much. But anyway, that's beside the point. So anyway, I signed up for certification. I started coaching people for free. But the thing that I did while I was in that course was they said, like, just start selling something. So I love using Canva. And if you don't know what it is, it's Canva, Canva. It's you can do any kind of graphic design stuff in there. I never did anything in graphic design. I mean, I know how to use accounting software and Word and all of those things, but I taught myself Canva. I started using it. Someone in the course referred to the things that I posted and asked me like they said, who creates your designs? And I said, I do in Canva. And the woman said, you're a Canva expert. Wow. And I thought, I'm a Canva expert. I'm going to start teaching people how to use Canva. That's a tip for you, so pay attention because that's where I started. I started teaching people how to use Canva, and I charged $25 for Canva classes. And I started offering them to people on Facebook and people that were in that course with me. And then more people wanted it. So then I did like part 2. And then I did part 3, which was for entrepreneurs and teaching you how to create your Instagram posts and Facebook posts and website materials and all of that. And then after that, I started coaching people for free. And I just was like, I'm having a coach-a-thon. And on a Saturday, I just got people on 20-minute coaching sessions for free just to help them start to change their life and get unstuck. And from there, then I started charging like smaller amounts to coach people. So I started really gaining confidence. I'm still on the job. Um, so that was in 2020. In 2021, I had started taking on, like I started charging more for 6 months of one-on-one coaching. Then I started teaching group programs and started creating communities. Now, y'all, I just want you to know I had no experience doing any of that. I had been in a group program and I saw how it was run and I created my own. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but in 2021, I think it was in March of 2021, I made $37,000 between selling the group coaching program and selling one-on-one coaching. And when I made that, I said, or was it, you know what? I think it was 37, but it might have been 27. It doesn't matter because either way, it was a lot of money. Maybe it was 27. I have to look at the numbers, but I made that money and I think I have it right here. So my whole thing with my videos, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not doing a whole lot of editing. I have a bunch of journals around here. Oh, here it is right here. And okay. Oh, that's 2022. Yeah, I think, and I'll tell you some of the numbers because that was 2021, and I quit my job after that because I said there's no way in hell I'm making that much on a job. Um, and so it was interesting because in 20, I'm trying to get these dates right. At the end of 2020, I think it was. No, in the end of 2019, which I'm trying to get the time frame right, so hopefully I'm not being too confusing. But in 2019, right before taking that course and right before COVID, I lost my hearing in one ear. So I know, like you're all saying, that's just crazy. How's all this stuff happening to this person? But I lost hearing in my left ear. I had an allergic reaction to CBD, CBD oil. I bought it in the health food store to help me sleep. Had an allergic reaction, caused my blood pressure to rise crazy, ended up being rushed to the hospital, in the hospital for 4 days from an allergic reaction to CBD. So then we lead into 2020 with COVID. Then we lead into 2021. I made all that money and I quit my job May 21st, 2021. No plan. Hardly any money in my 401k. Keep in mind, I took money out to get my certification. I bet on me. I bet on me. And some people are probably like, that's crazy. But the reason I did it is because before I left there, I didn't get a raise. Like it was time for raises. Every year I got an amazing raise. I told you I doubled my salary in the 16 years I was there. It took me 16 years to double my salary. Um, so I'm gonna get to that, why that's so important. So it took me 16 years to double my salary. And when I came back from my ear situation, losing my hearing at the end of the year, it was time for raises. I did the payroll. So the lawyers would come to me, the head managing partner in the law firm. If you're familiar with law firms, the managing partner came to me like in a rush in December and was like, here's a spreadsheet for the raises. We need to get you to get it done right away, which every year that happened. So it wasn't surprised. Like raises would be happening for Christmas and Christmas bonuses and all the things. Well, I get the spreadsheet. They leave my office. I look at the spreadsheet, and for me, it says zero raise. And I think I used to get maybe like a $5,000 bonus. I think I got $1,000. I think that's what it was. So I looked at it and my heart started racing and I just was like, what is going on? So as a professional, I enter the raises. I put them in this payroll system. I do everything, send off the payroll. Nobody ever told me I wasn't getting a raise. Nobody said anything to me. The next day, the managing partner comes to my office and he knocks and he says, can you come? He didn't even talk to me in my office. He asked me to get up and come to his office. So I come to his office, I sit down, And he tells me, and this is what led me to leave, but he tells me that the partners talked and we believe that you are highly compensated enough and we're not willing to pay you any more money. So you didn't get a raise, but I do apologize for not talking to you about it ahead of time. So because I have been coached and working on myself, I didn't feel, I don't know, I wasn't even upset, but it's just, I guess plus I had a overnight to process it. And I said to him, I don't see me continuing to work somewhere where I'll never get a raise again. And he looked at me and I said, do you have a problem with my work? And he said, no, we're very happy with your work. We're just not willing to pay you any more money. So I just said, thank you. I thought maybe because I was out sick with my hearing situation, because I was actually out of work for 4 months. That's how sick I was with the hearing loss. And he said, no, we're just not willing to pay you any more money. So I went back to my office and I sat down and literally, and I know it was God. I say it was God because I wouldn't naturally have these thoughts. And I heard God say, they do not get to dictate how much money you make. Psh, blew my mind. And from that point on, I was determined to leave that job. And that's how I ended up quitting in 2021. So in my next video, because this is going a little longer than I thought it would, in my next video, I'm going to tell you how I ended up in 2022, which was my first full year in business, tripling my corporate salary. Yeah. So come back next week for the next video. Thanks for hanging with me if you made it to the end. And please share this with your friends. I am showing up for you. I want to show you what's possible. I want to show you that getting older can still be amazing because look at me, 68, turned 68 in May. And life is not over. In fact, I'm starting over. And maybe you are too. So I'll talk to you next time.